feels like just this major injustice that is being done to me. I feel like I've been slapped by polygamy.
When the court order finally came through, Kody Brown didn't post a victory selfie or throw shade on Instagram. She didn't have to. The news spoke for itself. After months of legal silence, a Utah judge had just ruled that Kody Brown must pay child support. Let that sink in.
Kody is suing Kody in Utah for child support of Truly.
For over a decade, viewers watched Kody carry the emotional and financial load for her kids, while Kody drifted from family to family like a polygamous tumbleweed. Now, for the first time, there's paperwork forcing his hand. The irony? This ruling comes just as Kody gears up for her tell-all memoir, scheduled to drop on September 2nd, and insiders say the timing is no coincidence. One source whispered, "She played the long game, and now it's all hitting at once."
According to legal documents obtained by In Touch, Kody, 52, filed the lawsuit on Monday, September 16th, and asked the court to establish paternity of the teenager as Kody, 55, currently isn't on her birth certificate.
What's hitting? Financial justice, emotional closure, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of that sweet earned revenge. Because let's not forget what Kody said back when Kody first left. He warned her, almost smugly, that if she dared come after him for support, he'd lawyer up and come for her money. He acted like child support was some kind of petty attack, instead of a legal responsibility. And yet here we are, paternity legally established, parenting time formalized, monthly payments ordered by the court. No more he said, she said, just a judge's signature.
It's hard not to be bitter about the fact that I bought off on it and did it. Because in the end, in the last moments of it, it felt terrible.
Sealing Kody's fate in ink. For Kody, it's not just about the money, it's about finally being seen, about the years she spent scrambling to pay for doctor visits, school supplies, braces, and that heartbreaking surgery for Isabelle, while Kody flaunted new real estate, new toys, and a wife who seemed more interested in antique dolls than actual parenting. Viewers still remember Kody's quiet pain when she confessed that even when Kody wasn't physically there, she was mentally wrapped up in what he needed. "I was probably more fixated on that man then." She paused, flustered, unable to finish the sentence. But now the sentence has ended. The court has spoken. And Kody? She's moving forward, pen in hand, audiobook in production, and legal documentation to prove that Kody Brown finally is being held accountable.
I didn't realize, such a weird and embarrassing thing to admit, but my life was just wrapped up in what Kody needed and what he wanted and what the family needed and wanted.
But this legal win didn't come out of nowhere. In fact, it followed a chain of courtroom whispers, sealed files, and one sudden shift that caught everyone off guard. Back in September of last year, Kody quietly filed in Utah for child custody, paternity, parenting time, and child support. And just days later, Kody fired back with a counterclaim, setting off a behind-the-scenes legal standoff that fans didn't even realize was happening until much later. That's because almost immediately the court sealed the proceedings. No cameras, no transcripts, no media leaks. Everything went silent. And that silence spoke volumes. It meant something serious was brewing behind closed doors, and neither Kody nor Kody wanted it played out on TMZ. But even as the cameras were shut out, a few clues trickled through. In recent months, eagle-eyed fans noticed shifts in Kody's confidence, her language, even the way she referenced the father of my kids. And on Kody's side, let's just say his on-camera frustration with the wives and his obsession with who was loyal reached a boiling point.
I was probably more fixated on that man than, it was like, even when he wasn't there, I'd be thinking, whenever he gets here, we're gonna do this and this and this. Because he didn't just insert into my life. He didn't just do whatever we were doing. We had to change what we were doing.
It wasn't just about hurt feelings. It was about losing control. And control for Kody has always been the currency he deals in most. What we now know is that sometime during mediation, likely over the winter, a tentative agreement was reached. The details were sealed, but the result was inevitable. A formal court order filed in Utah just days ago, confirming that paternity has been established and child support must be paid. This wasn't a dramatic courtroom showdown. No cameras, no screaming match, just cold, hard paperwork, and Kody calmly walking out with a win. It's the kind of quiet power move that says everything. And here's the kicker. Because paternity is now official, Kody may also be eligible to collect retroactive child support. In Utah, that window stretches back up to 3 years. And sources speculate that Kody could file for back payments that easily exceed $100,000, especially if she includes past medical bills and missed contributions for Truly. And frankly, she should. After all the emotional and financial neglect she endured, this isn't about vengeance. It's about justice, and the judge clearly agreed. Still, one giant question remains. Just how much is Kody now being forced to fork over each month? And does he actually have the cash to cover it?
You take Truly and you go to Utah, the most polygamy-unfriendly state in the union. You get a boyfriend who wants some of our money. And between you, your boyfriend, and the state of Utah, I lose any access to Truly and all my money because I've seen it happen to many, many people.
So that's your biggest fear?
Utah, a greedy boyfriend, a user, a greedy new husband, a user, okay?
Now here's where things start to heat up, because while the exact dollar amount of Kody's court-ordered child support hasn't been made public, plenty of fans and legal observers are doing the math, and the numbers don't look great for Kody. According to a recent study out of Utah, it costs around $18,800 per year to raise a single child in the state. That's already one of the lowest costs in the country, thanks to Salt Lake City and Provo being among the most affordable metros for families. But even with those budget-friendly stats, we're still talking about more than $1,500 per month in real-world expenses. And that doesn't even touch extras like medical care, travel, clothing, or higher education. So when you factor in the legal standard for child support in Utah, especially when one parent has the majority of parenting time, as Christine reportedly does, it's not hard to imagine Kody's obligation landing well north of $1,000 a month. Easily. But that's just going forward. What's got fans buzzing even louder is the idea of back pay, because once paternity is locked in, Utah law allows the custodial parent to seek up to 3 years of retroactive support. That could easily add up to a lump sum near $100,000. Especially if Christine includes unreimbursed medical costs, like say the spinal surgery for Isabelle that Kody famously never contributed to. Viewers still remember that emotional episode when Christine broke down over how her daughter had to face a life-altering operation without her father's financial help. That moment haunted the fan base, and now it's resurfacing with a vengeance.
You and I have to actually have a child custody agreement in place, or the state takes her, essentially becomes the owner of her.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Because if Kody thought he could dodge those bills forever, the legal system may have other ideas. What's even more damning is that during the tell-all, Kody tried to paint himself as a provider, mentioning he handled the cars and helped with college tuition. But let's be real, those cars? A couple $1,000s a piece. Nothing close to what raising children actually costs. It wasn't support, it was scraps. And now that the judge has weighed in, those scraps won't cut it. Of course, none of this addresses the real elephant in the room. Where exactly is Kody going to get that kind of money? It's not like Kody Brown is out here living modestly. That's what's making this court ruling all the more infuriating for fans who followed the Sister Wives saga from day one. Because while Christine was scraping together money for groceries, doctor's visits, and dance recital outfits, Kody was out buying luxury cars, sprawling homes, and enough ATVs to supply an entire Boy Scout troop. Let's not forget, this is the same man who blew upwards of $2 million on a new house with Robin, only to turn around and act like funding his kid's future was somehow optional. So now, with this new court order hanging over his head, people are rightfully asking, if Kody has the money for custom motorcycles, why has he allegedly spent years dodging child support? Insiders whisper that Kody and Robin live hand-to-mouth, meaning they burn through their income almost as fast as it hits their accounts. And that checks out. Robin's doll obsession alone could put a dent in any normal household budget, and Kody, he's always chasing the next big expensive dream, whether it's a tractor for his land that's never developed or a pricey legal battle he insists on dragging out. The irony here is razor sharp. The same man who spent years boasting about how the family always came first is now staring down a court-ordered bill for the very children he barely mentions on camera anymore. And while some fans hold out hope he'll finally do the right thing, others aren't so sure.
It's not normal for me to babysit my kids. The idea of going and kayaking or hiking and stuff like that is not something I really do a lot of with anybody. I'm good at watching my kids, but I almost never do it. It's easier for me to pay somebody $20 an hour than to lose $200 an hour with the business that I have at hand.
He's not exactly known for playing by the rules, one commenter noted. What's to stop him from forgetting a few payments? Well now, the state of Utah for starters. Because if Kody tries to flake out, there are real consequences. G-leach, wage garnishment, bank account seizures, and yes, even contempt of court. The system has options, and if Christine plays her cards right, she won't have to chase a single check because they'll come straight from Kody's paycheck, whether he likes it or not. But whether he pays isn't the only question swirling right now. The bigger question? Whether this child support order is just the start of Kody's legal and financial reckoning. Now here's where things start to look a little more official. With the court order now filed in Utah, child support isn't just a moral obligation, it's a legal one. And in this state, enforcement is no joke. If Kody misses a payment, the system kicks in. The Utah Office of Recovery Services can step in to automatically deduct what's owed straight from his bank account or wages, every 2 weeks like clockwork. No sweet talking, no ducking out, and if he falls behind, things escalate fast. The state can place liens on his property, freeze accounts, suspend business licenses, even intercept tax refunds. And if the arrears pile high enough, that's when we cross into criminal territory. It's rare, but Utah does have a charge called criminal non-support. And while Kody isn't there yet, he's not exactly known for dotting I's and crossing T's. Let's just say, if he slips up, Christine won't need to chase him down, because the court will do it for her. And here's the part that fans are whispering about. If Christine did ask for retroactive support, and let's be honest, she has every reason to, then this isn't just about making monthly payments moving forward. It could mean Kody's facing a serious lump sum. And even if they mediated that detail quietly behind sealed doors, the law would still enforce whatever they agreed upon, which means that the so-called breadwinner of the Brown household could now be facing the one thing he's never liked, structured responsibility.
I don't want to pursue another woman because I don't want that headache, the questions, the struggles, the wonder about trust. I'm not in that space.
Not just emotional accountability, but cold, hard legal accountability. And that's a big shift from the man we saw ranting at tell-all tapings, blaming Christine, Janelle, and even Mary for the family's unraveling. He mocked them for not being spiritually loyal. He rolled his eyes when Christine said she couldn't keep waiting for him to show up. But now, the judge showed up for her. And that's a whole new power dynamic. Still, Christine's win in court isn't the only thing that's perfectly timed. Because just as Kody's facing legal heat, Christine's about to drop her most personal bombshell yet. Christine isn't just walking away with a court order, she's walking into the spotlight with a microphone, a manuscript, and a moment. Her tell-all memoir, set for release on September 2nd, is being positioned as more than just a sister wives' diary. It's a reclamation, a warning, and a reckoning. Titled Christine Brown Woolley, the book promises to pull back the curtain on her life inside polygamy, what it took to walk away, and what it really cost to love a man like Kody Brown. Sources say she just received her author copies and is gearing up to record the audiobook. The timing, impeccable. Because while Kody's being forced to pay for the past, Christine is finally getting paid to tell her truth. The official synopsis reads like a survival memoir crossed with a cultural exposé. Raised in a polygamist household, Christine once dreamed of the picturesque sister-wife life, but that illusion cracked wide open when she married Kody in 1994 and slowly realized that the family dynamic wasn't just complicated, it was imbalanced, isolating, and at times deeply painful. For years, she played the good wife, even as she was sidelined, dismissed, and forced to adapt her life around whatever Kody needed that day. And when Sister Wives premiered in 2010, the show was pitched as a look at a loving, alternative family model. But the cameras ended up capturing something else. Christine slowly breaking, quietly pulling away, softly realizing that loyalty without love is just a cage. What fans are most eager to see is how deeply she'll go, because while Christine has always come off as the most emotionally honest of the wives, there's still so much the public doesn't know. Unseen conversations, financial secrets, emotional abuse, alleged manipulation, and most importantly, how she found the courage to stop asking permission and start setting boundaries. And now, just as Kody is cornered into finally supporting his daughter, Christine is being handed the megaphone, not to yell, but to tell, calmly, clearly, and on her terms. But while Christine is finding her voice, others in the family aren't exactly clapping. In fact, one ex-wife has already started dropping subtle shade, and fans are wondering if another feud is about to resurface. It's one thing to win in court. It's another to win in life, and lately Christine has been doing both. But that doesn't mean the road here was easy or quick. In one raw confession that didn't make many headlines at the time, Christine admitted something so heartbreakingly simple it stopped fans in their tracks. "My life was just wrapped up in what Kody needed, even when he wasn't there. I was thinking, when he gets here, we'll do this and this and this." That's not just love, that's emotional captivity. And the worst part? She didn't even realize it was happening. Because when you've been raised in a culture where self-sacrifice is praised and female needs are secondary, you don't always know you're drowning until you come up for air. And Christine? She's finally breathing again. A big part of that transformation is thanks to David Woolley, her new husband, who by all accounts is everything Kody never was. Present, affectionate, emotionally available, and most importantly, a true partner. Fans have watched the way David steps in for Truly, how he speaks about Christine with warmth instead of critique, and how he doesn't flinch when she brings up the trauma of her past. That's not insecurity, that's security. and it's what allows Christine to process decades of emotional neglect without feeling silenced all over again. Critics may scoff that she mentions Kody too often in this new chapter, but that's part of healing. When you leave an environment where you are constantly minimized, the comparison becomes natural. The aha moments come fast, and having a spouse who lets you say, "Wow, I didn't know that wasn't normal," is part of the repair. David gets that. Kody never did. Still, not everyone is clapping for Christine's growth. Recently, Mary Brown took to TikTok and made what some fans interpreted as a thinly veiled jab, questioning why Christine still talks about Kody to her new husband. Why can't she just move on, she seemed to suggest. But the real question is, why does that bother Mary so much? Because if Christine is finally healing, is Mary realizing she never really started? While Christine's star rises, it's Robyn who now seems to be stuck under a very different spotlight, one that's less glamorous and a lot more tense. Ever since the court order dropped, speculation has been flying about what this means for Robyn and Kody's supposedly unshakable dynamic. And let's just say, it's not looking like a fairy tale over there. Fans have long suspected that Robyn was the de facto CEO of Kody's time, money, and energy. She got the big house, the legal marriage, the lion's share of his attention, and allegedly, the final say in a lot more than just home decor. But now, with Kody being forced to pay Christine, the financial grip may be slipping, and some are wondering if Robyn's patience is too. The whispers started when Kody was spotted looking visibly irritated and alone at an airport in Texas, just days after the court order was filed. No Robyn, no family entourage. Just one cranky-looking man in a hoodie, storming through the terminal like a dad who missed his flight and his dignity. Reddit lit up with theories. Was he running from the paperwork? Was there tension at home? Or was Robyn distancing herself in the one way she knows how, by letting him take the heat alone? One post even speculated that they may not be fully aligned on this whole paying the exes situation, especially now that Robyn has hinted at wanting to explore polygamy again, while Kody has loudly declared he's done. That's not just a communication breakdown, that's a PR disaster. But most fans aren't buying the idea of a Robyn-Kody split just yet. As one commenter put it, Robyn's not going anywhere unless the money dries up or her kids are grown. And that's the real kicker. As long as Kody is still covering the doll collections, the massive house, and the lifestyle she's grown accustomed to, Robyn's unlikely to make a dramatic exit. But this court order shifts the equation. More of their shared income could now be legally redirected to Christine, and if back pay becomes part of the deal, we're not talking pocket change, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And for a couple used to being above accountability, that's a dangerous ripple effect. But if Robyn's loyalty is tied to financial comfort, what happens when comfort turns to obligation? Miri's recent behavior has left longtime fans feeling conflicted. While Christine's forging ahead legally, emotionally, and professionally, Miri seems stuck in a feedback loop of passive-aggressive commentary and awkward live streams. In a recent TikTok live, she casually dropped some barbed thoughts about Christine, and it didn't go unnoticed. The topic? Christine's tendency to talk about Kody with her new husband. At first glance, Miri framed it like harmless curiosity, but as the conversation unfolded, the tone shifted. She questioned Christine's need to keep bringing up Kody, almost suggesting that by doing so, Christine wasn't letting go. "Why keep comparing?" she asked, and while she never named names, fans knew exactly who she was talking about. To be fair, Miri's in a strange emotional limbo. She was Kody's first wife, the legal one, until Robyn took that spot. She watched her own marriage crumble on national television while trying to keep up the illusion of family unity. And now, with Christine emerging as the woman who left and thrived, there's a growing sense that Miri isn't just confused, she's threatened. Not in a romantic way, but in an identity way. Christine redefined the exit path. She showed that you can leave Kody, build a new life, fall in love again, and still be respected by fans. That wasn't Miri's journey, and the contrast is glaring. What's even more complicated is that Miri herself still makes public comments about Kody, about the grief, the loss, the confusion. So the idea that Christine should censor herself just because she found happiness elsewhere, it rings a little hollow. Healing doesn't have a uniform timeline, and when your trauma was built inside a system as layered as polygamy, reflection isn't just normal, it's necessary. That Miri doesn't fully see that yet says more about where she is in her own process than it does about Christine. And this awkward shade isn't happening in a vacuum. With Christine's book release looming, some fans believe Miri's jabs are a defensive move, anticipating what Christine might say in print. Because once Christine's version of events is out there for the world to read, the Sister Wives history books could get a sharp rewrite. But that brings us to the real question. Will Christine's court victory and upcoming memoir finally bring closure, or will they trigger a brand new storm? So now, with a judge's signature on record and a memoir on the way, Christine Brown is no longer just the third wife who walked away. She's the woman rewriting her story on paper, in court, and on her own terms. And Kody? He's no longer just the misunderstood father figure. He's a man staring down legal responsibility he can't sermon his way out of. For the first time, the consequences are tangible. There's no spiritual guilt trip, no emotional deflection, no plural family shield. Just a court-ordered bill, sealed files, and a former wife who's done playing nice. Whether or not Christine gets back child support, potentially in the six-figure range, remains to be seen. But the symbolic victory is already hers. She stood up, she spoke out, and the system backed her. But let's not pretend this wraps everything in a neat little bow. The ripple effects are just beginning. If Kody resists the order or falls behind, the legal system has teeth, and Christine, now well represented and backed by public support, isn't likely to let it slide. Robin may be calculating what this means for her household income. Mary may be preparing for whatever bombs Christine's book might drop. And fans? They're watching with sharper eyes than ever, no longer accepting vague statements or spiritual excuses. This court order didn't just change a payment schedule, it shifted the entire power balance inside a family that once operated by Kody's rules. Now the rules have changed. And while Christine focuses on Truly's happiness, her growing bond with David, and the healing she says she never thought was possible, Kody is left with fewer excuses, fewer allies, and allegedly a dwindling reserve of both money and public goodwill. At some point, the story stops being about what he meant to do and becomes about what he actually did, or didn't do. So what do you think? Should Christine go after the full 3 years of back child support? And how do you think Robin's handling the money shift behind closed doors? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.